Hey everyone, welcome back to the Engineered Angler. I'm out here on Big Lake Santa Fe, here to do a little fishing, but mostly I got to test that Yamaha. Finally, I think I got the fuel problem solved. We'll see. But also, I wanted to show you the finished product on the double hinged trolling bait that I made on a couple of videos. Let me show you a couple glamour shots of this thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit about lessons learned, some things I might do differently next time I use this kind of hinge. But also I want to go ahead and throw it in the water and do some underwater shots of the action on this thing. It's pretty cool. Hopefully I'll get some good shots. Water here is a little bit clearer than my lake, but we'll see. So if you take a close look at this, you can see that I had to finish pretty much the whole lure inside that little cavity and everything. The pins are in. I coated the pinholes with some 2-part epoxy. I went with a Spanish mackerel pattern because I plan to use it in salt water. Hopefully it'll attract a good bite. So one of the really oddball things about this particular hinge is the fact that the back end can actually move forward of the front end. As this thing is swimming, on occasion this back end actually passes the back end of the front end. Moves forward, which is something I didn't anticipate, and it kind of throws a kink into how well it actually acts as a combined unit, right? I found that I had to have a really good biting bill, right? A dive bill. Fish are jumping. A dive bill that reached down and bit. Now I wanted to put a bigger bill on this thing, but I didn't have the patience to wait for the ones that I bought. So I put this one on and I put a slight kink in it, if you can see, and that is so it actually takes a deeper bite into the water and gives me a little bigger movement. Now what I needed to do, what I was trying to do, is have the front end overcome the back end, so it was the driving force. And since the back end has its own sort of oscillating frequency, the front end needed to be the driver. So I think I got it right. I think I could still use a slightly bigger bill. I wanted it to dive between 6 and 9 feet. I think I've got that, but I'm pretty happy with this. In the future, what I'm going to do is use this particular kind of hinge on a swim bait. I want to make a 3 or 4 part swim bait because I really think that when you add more segments, this will actually flow better, because the 2-segment deal seems to kind of put these things as smooth a motion as this looks. When it's in the water, there's a sort of differential between these two, the way they want to move, the front and the back, so they don't act as one piece, which looks really cool. But as you crank it faster and faster, it gets a little weirder. So I think all that can be resolved with a bigger bill. As far as the construction of the actual hinge, I think I hit it right on the head. I gave it plenty of gap. I had to kind of adjust it, if you remember from the other videos, but it really does move very fluidly and with a very interesting look. I mean, it actually looks like it might be an injured fish. If I were to do it any different, I might make the back end just a little bit shorter, just to have it have a little less influence on the rest of the body. Gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. I like the look and the weight. It's a bit heavier, bigger than most any lure that I've ever had. But I'm really looking forward to trolling this thing behind the boat out in about 15 feet of water in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm gonna go ahead and put this camera on a chest mount, and I'll show you what it looks like on the surface, and then we'll move to underwater shots. Okay, this might be a little difficult because you really got to move this thing at a pretty good clip to get it to swim well. So I'll show you what it looks like slow. So it almost looks like the back end is propelling it. So let's get it a little bit of a distance and see if I can. All right, I think that's a good enough demonstration. Let's see if I can set this thing up with the underwater camera. Well, hopefully the footage of the underwater action will really show you what it really looks like. It's really tough to get that footage. I had that Minn Kota 75-pound wound out, man, as fast as I could get it to go, to really get the lure to really swim well. Well, I'm going to keep fishing. Thanks for watching. Wish me luck. I'm going to test the motor out a little more a little later. I've got a tournament this weekend. I may not be able to fish it, but I guess I'll be making lures. All right, let's see if this swim bait can catch something. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot.